This episode of the Twilight Zone After Hours is not brought to you by Diet Coke this week. Special edition, it is brought to you by Houseplant THC Infused Seltzers. 0 calories, 0 sugar, 10 milligrams of THC. This is going to be an interesting episode. We'll see you in the studio in a second.
You're traveling through another dimension. A dimension not only of sight and sound, but of Twilight Zone reviews. A journey into a wondrous land of intoxication where a father, son, and guest drink and retell episodes of the Twilight Zone.
There is a fifth dimension.
Stay tuned because your next stop is the Twilight Zone After Hours.
The Twilight Zone.
Welcome to the Season 2 finale of the Twilight Zone After Hours. I'm one of your two hosts, Steve.
And I'm Kelly.
We are here to wrap up the last 2 episodes of Season 2 of the Twilight Zone ending in 1961. But before we do that, you know what we like to do. We like to get a special host. Last time it was me outside in a bikini.
Beautiful thing it was.
Yeah, it was. And I think it's underappreciated. But the craziest thing happened is this week our contacts really got us into contact with a really in-demand person right now. The drone from New Jersey. Hold on a second. Oh, yeah. What's up,
There
Drone?
he goes.
Drone, what's up? Thank you for joining us on the show today.
Not quite as big as a bus, but who knows?
How's it going, Drone?
Yeah, I'm all right. You know, it's a little cold out here in Jersey tonight. It's 3 degrees.
Is it 3 degrees?
Oh my God.
Oh, so
I want to come back to Arizona and see that bikini shot again. I got an aerial view last time.
oh wait, so that means you just answered my first question. You're not a Chinese drone. You're an Arizonan drone.
I'm a United States drone.
Okay, so
Okay.
You know,
a warm weather drone.
I'm from Jersey. I live in Jersey. You know, everyone thinks I'm some kind of Chinese drone. You see a drone flying over here from China? How'd they get here?
I heard there was a cargo ship like off the coast of Virginia.
Launching these things daily.
Sure. I mean, I was manufactured in Taiwan for sure, but you know, I'm a Jersey boy.
Understood. Hey, do you have? I know it's super cold up there. Do you have any holiday routines that you like to get into?
You know, it's funny. It's true. I do. I like to chase Rudolph around. You know.
Oh my God.
I got my red blinking light.
You're one of those kind of drones.
Donner's a dope.
What? Do you know? I just realized the other day for real, and I know the stupid song that Cupid is an actual. That's a reindeer in his thing. I thought it was a typo. Cupid. And Donner and Blitzen and Cupid. Yeah, and I'm like,
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't realize that. Anyway, Drone,
Dasher
I
and
didn't
Dancer and Cupid is a reindeer?
know. Yeah, Cupid is one of the reindeer.
Oh my God.
Hey, have you had any negative interactions with people yet? Because I keep on hearing people say that they want to shoot down to you guys flying around.
Nah, I keep it over. I'm way too far over their head. You know, they can't get me that high.
I like that. It's a good attitude to have about it.
So with question that we're close to Christmas, just 2 days away. Merry Christmas to everybody, by the way, including you, Mr. Drone.
And you too, sir.
What are you doing on Christmas Eve? We've got the big guy in the red suit flying all over New Jersey. You're up there with your buddies cruising around in the same airspace. Is there any concern that the two of you may end up meet inadvertently? Or are you going to help him out somehow? I mean, you're taking up the airspace.
That's true.
Why not benefit from it, right?
Well, you know, one of my favorite holiday pastimes lately is following Santa around. You know, because you can see, you know, we got some advanced technology these days, and I can see the metric weight of the sleigh as it goes up and down, so I can see what houses get the good stuff.
Oh,
and then I
damn
try to tell my
straight.
friends to go over there. You know.
Oh, you work together with. I got you. That makes sense.
Well, watching you hover right now in
Yeah.
real time, I can see that the technology is beyond anything that we have.
Yeah, it's kind of wild.
It's crazy
I'm just
stuff.
glad you're around. And speaking of being around, are you able to stick around with us tonight and do the Rod Serling intro and exit narrations?
Oh, I wish I could tonight, but I'm right over the bada bing.
Ah.
I got to go get my own little peep show. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I
got it,
gotcha.
man.
Well, Drone, I'll let you go. Thank you so much, and have a good rest of the holidays. I hope nobody harasses you out there, but I really do appreciate you showing up today, and maybe next season you can come back.
Anytime you guys want me, you got me. And for all the listeners out there, remember, be good. Merry Christmas. Fuck Diet Coke. It's
You
not
got it, man. Hey, listen,
I got.
do not let this cold weather cause your rudder to flutter, okay?
Oh, what was that? Look, he's leaving right now.
This is a customer service message.
He just left. He's not even in camera angle anymore.
Well, anyway, stay warm.
Drone, New Jersey Drone, thank you for joining us on the show tonight. I appreciate it. And in just a second, we're going to get our special beverages tonight and get started. So we'll see you in a minute.
You walk into this room at your own risk.
All right, so we're doing something slightly different today with the beverages. Let's crack them open right now. So instead of doing Long Islands, we are doing, since it's the finale, try something different, right?
Absolutely.
Houseplant is a company that is invented by Seth Rogan. And I've been a fan of kind of his pottery. He makes cool stuff. So I've had it. This just arrived in Arizona a week ago, so we've already had 2 boxes of them. But they are THC infused, and I have... black. Which one do I have? I have blackberry, and you've got citrus.
I'm working on citrus here.
So this is be kind of the equivalent of a Long Island. We're going to give THC seltzers a shot today. Speaking of shots, we have the shot clock here. Same rules apply. You guys know the game. We are a Twilight Zone review show where we retell episodes in 5 minutes or less, and then we chat about them for a little bit afterwards. The 2 episodes we're covering tonight, I will be retelling Will the Real Martian Please Stand Up? And man, I feel like we have a lot to say about that episode.
Do.
And then you're covering an Obsolete Man. Wow. Very interesting episodes. I'm ready to launch into this.
Let's
Ready?
get this going.
Let's take a good
swig and hit it.
All right, so I'll tell you first off, it's light. It tastes kind of like a non-alcohol. There's no alcohol in these, but it kind of like a seltzer, like a White Claw, kind of that texture. Was yours overpowering or no? Mine's light.
No, a little tinge of something right out of the chute, something undefined. But then it works right into the seltzer water genre.
Not like a spicy margarita where you've got a kick like that. Just, interesting. I like them. I like them a lot. So, all right, here we go.
Let's go.
Let's be honest. Will the Real Martian Please Stand Up? May be, in my opinion, the most perfectly crafted Twilight Zone episode out of all of them. And I'm going to get into that in a minute. 5-minute shot clock. Put it up on your things, ladies and gentlemen. 5 minutes starting now. Opens up into a wooded area with UFO sounds, right? So you hear it's trees and you hear a UFO come crashing through the trees, and then police show up because they were reported that there was a crash in the area, and they're looking around and they say, yeah, there definitely something took off the top of these trees. And then they look and one of the 2 cops sees footprints on the ground. And after like a third viewing, I'm trying to pay attention really closely. They don't look like regular footprints. They're kind of longer. Anyway, that's what or someone dragging their feet. I have no idea, but that's going to be important later. So the cops are like, well, it leads to the diner, the High Fly Diner. Do you remember what it's called? The High Life Diner. He's probably got that trivia because he always does.
I'll look it up. Keep going.
So he goes over and the cops go inside and it is snowing. And outside of the diner is a school bus. Well, actually, it's just a bus. And he goes inside, and inside there's a bartender named Haley. That's one of the main characters. You'll recognize him later. Typical old-timey bartender with the soda cap on. And then there are 7 other people in this diner sitting around. And they're kind of solemn, just sitting there quietly. And the 2 cops come in and they start saying, hey, we're kind of maybe investigating something in the woods that happened, blah, blah, blah. And they're talking to Haley, the bartender, and he's like, well, now I've been here for 12 hours. Nothing came in here. So the cops start saying, well, who are all these people? They're on the bus. By the way, you cannot take your bus up that wooden bridge. It's going to break. It's the snow's coming over, the water's freezing it, yada, yada. You cannot go over this bridge. So you guys are marooned here for a few hours. And there's one really kind of obnoxious guy in a black trench coat whose name I forget right now, but he's very adamant. I got to be to Boston tomorrow at 9 a.m. or 8 a.m. So it gets into this whole thing where the cops are kind of looking around. He goes, well, there's 7 of you. How many people were on your manifest? And the bus driver goes, there were 6. He goes, well, there's 7 people here. He goes, that can't be right. I don't make mistakes like this. There were 6 people when we left. And this is where the story turns into my favorite twist of the episode. It turns into an episode where all the people inside start kind of isolating themselves out. And it includes Sarah's least favorite moment in Twilight Zone history. the cracks start showing up. There's an old man at the grandpa who's at the bar who starts making loud, cracky jokes about how there's an alien in the town and you guys are missing the alien and blah, blah, blah. They all start saying, okay, we'll start pairing off. The first way to figure out who is an alien, if you say there's one person extra, go with the couples. If there's a couple, they're gone. So an older couple goes, we're exonerated, blah, blah, blah. Then there's another younger couple, and here's the part that Sarah hates, that she hates it so much, is it's a young couple, we're a really good-looking couple, and they're like, yeah, I guess we're clear too. And then the girlfriend looks at him, she goes, didn't you have a black mole on your chin? I'm like, what?
That's right.
It's ridiculous. So then they all start turning on each other, and the other lady starts going, she goes, the older lady in a couple goes, now everyone's going to turn on each other. You're going to start questioning if that's actually your husband. All of this is going on, and the volume is turned up really loud now. In the middle of all of this, everything is going weird. The cops are investigating, and all of a sudden in the corner, the freaking jukebox turns on and starts playing music. And they're like, what is going on? Haley, the bartender, looks over, and he's astonished by what's going on. Then the lights start to flicker. Okay, now everyone is really getting into this, and they're kind of freaked out. And they're trying to figure out who's who and what is what. So the cops are trying to figure it out, and I like that at the end they say the right thing. And they're like, well, who is it? You know, is it this person? The whole point is it's turning around. Then the lights start flickering again. The jukebox keeps going, and then the phone rings. And the sheriff or the cop picks it up, and he goes, okay, all right, I guess we're good. And he hangs up the phone and says, actually right before that, all of the sugar things explode on the table when all the madness is going on. I know this is rough for you because you want to say all the details and I'm skipping.
No. I'm reliving it right now.
I have 50 seconds. So the sugar shakers explode, the phone rings, and the cop answers and he goes, oh, I guess the bridge is open. That's the city inspector. He just verified that it's safe. So they get into the bus and then they drive away. The camera stays there for a little bit and then walks back as the obnoxious guy in the black trench coat. And the black trench coat guy comes in, and I am going to go over. He sits down at the bar and he goes, the bartender Haley goes, weren't you on that bus? And he goes, well, yeah, I was on that bus. It just crashed and everybody died. No one made it out. The cop cars went into the river. The bus went into the river. And Haley goes, wow, it's amazing that you made it out dry. He goes, what do you mean? He goes, well, you just fell into the river and you didn't make it out, which comes twist number 3. He goes, well, I'm not really a tourist. I'm a scout from Mars. Damn it, we're taking shots.
No, well, keep going, man. You're on a roll.
Damn.
Finish this
I
off.
told you this was going to be tough. So he's like, this gets really intense because the guy with the trench coat has an arm, a third arm that comes out and stirs the coffee for him.
He's lighting a cigarette.
A cigarette. Okay,
and
it's
this
coffee
arm
later.
appears out of his overcoat.
Yes. So it comes out and he goes, well, he's got an attitude and he's cocky and he goes, well, I'm not really a tourist or person going to Boston. I'm here because my people are coming and we're going to colonize the shit out of this place because it's a beautiful planet in the middle of nowhere and it's off the beaten path and it's amazing. And then Haley starts laughing about it a little bit and he goes, well, that's weird because that's a great idea. We started colonizing this planet years ago. You've missed out. My people are already here. He takes off his soda cap, and right in the middle of his forehead is a big, giant third eye. So he's now talking to the guy, and he goes, us from Mars, we knew this place was awesome from before. Am I getting the planets mixed up?
No.
I am. He's from Venus.
Venus and Mars.
And he goes, and by the way, this is the part that kills me. He goes, your people aren't coming here. We intercepted them, and they're dead. Like, it's incredible. So then he's sitting there and he goes, yeah, so we agree. The place is great, but I don't think anything's going to happen. The camera zooms out and it ends with Rod Serling's exit narration. Okay. So a million things to go over on this crazy ass episode because like I said at the beginning, this meets every bit of Twilight Zone, multiple twists, one location, bizarro stuff, alien activity that you hear in sound, but also the aliens themselves, clever ass writing, almost 2 incredible twists. Like it just kept coming and coming and coming, which is why this is one of the most iconic Twilight Zone episodes out of all of them. I give it a 10.
I gave it a 10 also.
Yep, it is, right?
Yeah.
It's just a perfect episode.
Well, it's the one I remember for all of those reasons. It's a memorable episode. And once you see it, you think back on it, and when he takes the hat off and there's that third eye, that is iconic. That's classic. It's classic Twilight Zone, but think about this. In season 1, what was the other show that was also alien related that played on the same concept of getting the humans to not trust one another?
What?
Elm Street.
Oh.
The exact same
Oh,
theory.
you mean from season? Yeah, exactly.
Where
Yep.
they're starting to doubt each other and accuse each other of being the alien.
Monsters do on Maple Street. Yes. Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
on Maple Street.
Yeah.
So it's the exact same theory that the failing of humanity is the lack of trust
Yep.
that we have with each other, and that we start questioning each other real quick.
Not just questioning people that you know, your spouse.
Oh yeah, about the mole.
Yeah, and then she starts second guessing the older lady, hers, and you're right. It's the same thing on Maple Street, which makes it such an iconic episode. But this one versus Maple Street has the iconic third eye. He's such a great, he's a poster.
Stormy night.
Yes.
The cops come in, so it
Yeah.
lends some validity to this. Who doesn't trust the cops back then, right? And they say, we followed the footprints right to the door of this place. So all of a sudden, there's evidence that says one of you or someone isn't supposed to be here.
Absolutely. So this has a very high rating on IMDb as well. It is one of the highest rated episodes on IMDb with an 8.7. I got some trivia for you here. The first draft of this was entitled Night of the Big Rain. The second was called Nobody Here But Us Martians. Interesting, right? Toward the end, Ross is seen smoking Oasis cigarettes made by the show's sponsor. So that would be one of the first on-screen marketing campaigns, I guess you could say. After the bus driver realizes that he doesn't know who boarded the bus, Avery, the kooky old man at the counter, exclaims, "She's just like science fiction. That's what she is. A regular Ray Bradbury." Ray Bradbury later wrote the season 3 episode of The Twilight Zone, I Sing the Body Electric. How cool is that? They kind of did a reference, and I don't know if they were just like shooting for the moon with somebody like Ray Bradbury or if he had already been signed up to do it, but it's a cool idea and it's kind of funny. So
the characters in this episode, some of them are memorable more than others, but the old guy at the countertop, the bug-eyed crazy dude, this guy is worth anybody watching this episode just to see his reaction, his comments, his facial expressions. If you've seen any of these before and you've forgotten about this one, you will see him and instantly you will remember this episode and this guy at the bar. He's a crazy dude, and he's done this in other roles. This is not his only role.
So the funny thing is, on the trivia, I didn't read it because I didn't think it was super important, but it did stir a conversation here in the house. Guess his age when he filmed that episode.
Yes, we've talked about that.
He's 40. Well. He was 40 years old, and I thought he was 70. So when it said in the trivia that she shockingly played I'm like, yeah. I thought he was significantly older, but that was a 40-year-old actor.
We talked about this.
Yeah, but this one, but it was the good makeup that aged him.
Yes.
Instead of the opposite way, where they're 70-year-olds playing 40-year-olds, it went around. I thought it was funny, but I didn't realize that.
Well, it's the eyes. I think Mel Brooks stole the eye thing.
Igor.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
20
nice
years
knockers.
later.
So I did go over the shot clock. So let's take a big swig and get these things going down. Cheers. I'm sorry about that. Now you may have a hard time with yours too. No, come on. Mine is just way too hard.
No, yours is one of the classics.
And I didn't want to miss parts.
It's different than that.
Yeah. All right. So let's see here. Ready for yours?
Let's do it.
All right.
Okay. All right. So this is the last episode.
Shot clock activated.
Of season 2. And when you see this is a minimalist episode. I think they ran out of all studio props. And they had this old garage, and they just turned it into the set. So in this scene, it's dark. This large table appears. It looks like an airplane hangar. It's just a huge open area. And the camera pans along this TV, or this table. It's all dark except for the illuminated table, and then it shows this giant podium that must be 12, 15 feet in the air. There's a guy standing at the podium with a microphone, and he talks down to a guy that's at the head of the table, and they call a person's name, and these 2 doors open up. And I swear to God, these 2 doors, this is the same set as the Emerald in the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
These are the 2 doors that open up into his palace. These are giant, and they're only about a foot wide, but they go up 40 feet.
Yeah, they're massive. It's not a part of the trivia, but who knows?
Anyway, so in walks Burgess Meredith. Been in our show many, many times. Burgess Meredith stands at the end of the table, and the commissioner, the head guy, what's his name? He has a title, an official title. Anyway, he says, "You have been declared obsolete. Do you understand what what that means. Yes, I understand what that means.
Chancellor.
Chancellor, yes. So they proceed to discuss why he is obsolete. And he says, what's your profession? He says, I'm a librarian. Well, you can't be a librarian and have any value because we don't have any books anymore. If you don't have any books, you don't need a library. Obviously, if you don't have a library, you certainly don't need librarians. He said, well, I challenge that premise. A librarian is very important. It is not important to the people. It is not important to the state. And so this argument goes back and forth, and the chancellor then says, we must now come up with a verdict. And there's 2 rows of people just silently standing there. What is your verdict? And they say, he is obsolete. Sir, he is obsolete. We declare you obsolete. Now that you're obsolete, your penalty is death. Within 48 hours, you will die. But we give you the choice of how you die and what time. So he says, thank you very much. I choose to have my executioner meet me to determine the time of my execution and the method. I'm not going to disclose it now. He says, okay. So the next scene is in Burgess's little room, his apartment. And in walks the chancellor. And he says, welcome, I'm glad you got my invite. Well, come on in. Yeah, this is a little abnormal that you would ask me to come in here, but why have you done this? Well, let me explain this. And he goes on to talk again about what he's done and why his job is important to the people. And this room's full of books. And he says, by the way, I have decided that I'm going to die at midnight, and I'm going to die by explosion. There's a bomb planted in here. And when the chancellor walked in, the chancellor closed the door behind him, and Burgess says, by the way, that door is locked. You can't get out. So the guy goes and checks it, and sure enough, he starts to get nervous. He comes back. He's calling Burgess's bluff, saying, you're not going to kill me. There's got to be a way out of here, but humor me. What are you doing this for? And he goes on to explain why he believes that he's not obsolete and that the state is wrong. Well, the chancellor gets very, very upset and sits down, and then you see clocks flying. In other words, it's the essence of time flying. The last hour turns into 30 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, and he's down to about a minute left, and he's getting nervous. And Burgess said, he goes, you're not going to let me die with you. No, I'm not. Here's the key. He gives him the key, and he opens the door. The chancellor runs out onto an outside stairwell. And here's the cool effect in this. Although it's a minimalist episode with very little in the way of scenery, this explosion is a real true-to-life explosion. The room blows up. And one thing that the chancellor did say, and this is important, he says, for the love of God, please don't let me die here. I think that nailed it. Because at the end, the same room, it's dark, there's another person at the podium. Will so-and-so come in? And the chancellor walks in, and the guy on the podium says, you have been declared obsolete. What do you mean obsolete? Well, I think it's because he invoked the name of God, and this is the state which does not believe in God. And he says, you are now obsolete. A fight ensues. He challenges it. The people on the side grab him, and that's the end of the episode. So
you wrap that up right there. Oh, nice.
Okay, here.
I thought for sure
I'm gonna add just a couple of seconds to this.
All right.
I gave this a 6. I did not find this.
No way.
Okay.
I love this.
I hope I've built it up because it's worth seeing. But this, to me, we've talked for 2 years now about how Serling was a World War II veteran.
Yep.
A very patriotic man. He lets his opinions come through. This, to me, was an indictment on fascism because he mentions Hitler and Stalin both by name.
That's literally in the trivia.
This is his diatribe on why the Allies defeated the Axis powers. This is his way of saying to the world, if you ever let this happen again, if you let the state control what people think and take away their freedoms, then nothing is worth living for.
Right.
And he actually, let's see, a quote from him at the end. Any government who takes away the freedoms of man is obsolete.
Cool. All right. So you gave this a 6.
I gave it a 6.
I don't care. I think that's great because it's so different. I gave it a 9 and it has a incredibly high rating on there. So I love that kind of thought process to it, just because it's different than mine. I like the idea of them showing the penalties of a, whatever the hell you call this, authoritarian whatever. Yeah. And I liked how you feel so bad. First of all, the explosion is sick as hell.
That's
it was
awesome.
I didn't remember it being such an amazing, like, it's like the one in Breaking Bad. Like, he's on the stairwell. That thing just comes out.
This thing really blows up. There's no fakeness to this.
So why I came around to loving this one so much is Burgess Meredith. Not only because his performance was just freaking outstanding, like it always is. What I liked was he was ready to take him down, but wasn't going to.
Right.
He was waiting for him to spaz out and prove that he's not better than everybody else. And you're just a whiny bitch like anyone that would be in this exact situation, blowing holes in the entire idea that the chancellor is a smarter person or better than anybody. Right. And the fact that he was that's how he took himself. And he did. He didn't come. There's no surprise twist ending where he made it. He blew up in that place, and it was an incredible way to go down. I think it's one of the ones that's incredibly talked about. So here we go. I got some trivia for you here. A year and a half after Time Enough at Last, Burgess Meredith has a Twilight Zone character defined by his relationship to books. 2 characters that he's played that are very book, whatever. The Blu-ray release includes Rod Serling's plug for the following week's episode, Where Is Everybody? Which we know is what? The very first episode ever aired of The Twilight Zone. So back then, they didn't have they didn't realize, I guess you cut that off, maybe do it without, because they literally plugged the wrong episode and whatever. But that's just kind of how it goes.
With that intro of Where Is Everybody, when they start season 3, episode 1 starts out in an abandoned town.
Yep.
So it fits.
Yeah, it does.
I watched it 2 or 3 times. I thought, this does make sense. Somehow they made that switch work, which was sort of brilliant.
Absolutely. Okay. So I like the variation of our opinions on this one. Okay, so we're going to get into this because this episode, I think, maybe it doesn't get brought up later, but I still think it's a good one. I highly recommend both of these episodes because I think they're both kind of relevant. I think yours is one that people talk about because of the what do you call that state? What is it? You said at the beginning, just a fascist state of, crazy. A lot of interesting trivia on that I didn't read that kind of took a long time to explain, but like one of them was literally comparing themselves to Hitler and Stalin, which is bizarre to hear about, but I highly recommend watching these. Where do you watch these again?
Paramount Plus.
Paramount Plus. All right, Dad. So I have 2 this or that's for you.
All right, I'm ready.
All right, this or that. Would you rather have a third eye or a third arm? See, this is what happens when you let me write
with 2. So if you have a third,
one,
that's just out of control. Give me the third eye. Can I pick where I put the eye?
Okay. See, this is where it gets in because where he has it is the worst place ever.
Oh,
there's very few hats that you could even wear that would be.
No, what are you going to do? Rip out a little hole so the third eye can look around?
Or do you cover it with a piece of gauze and then wear a baseball cap over it? Because you don't want your eyeball. I don't know. I've been thinking about that, but also I don't really know the benefit of having a third eye. Does it do anything? Because the guy in the chair with the third arm, he was the one controlling everything and calling it parlor games. So what is...
He was, but he's also the one whose whole race got annihilated by the guy with the third eye. So who ends up winning? The third eye.
The third eye thing, isn't that a thing? Like it's like telepathy or whatever. Okay, so maybe that's it.
I think it's sort of like the Egyptian thing, the all-seeing eye.
That's what I meant. Yeah, the all-seeing eye.
So
for a while, I was thinking about the third arm thing being kind of cool, but then I realized that none of having an extra appendage is cool at all.
Where are you going to put it?
I have no idea.
Are you going to sit on it?
Yeah, that's what Sarah goes. She goes, how many of those trench coats do you think he has? Because that's all he could wear. You could never get away with that. At least you could wear a beanie for life. And make that your identity.
If you watch this, I love this episode because as he's trying to light the cigarette, and we all know what's going on here because we've all seen these slapstick comedies with the third arm, and kids do it with the head and then the legs. He's trying to light the cigarette, and you can see the hand and the flames there, and he has to move his mouth over to the flame. It's very well done, but still, Even
better, my favorite one was the coffee because the arm that was on the inside lifted the cup up and he's looking and he's trying to get it by still looking at what he was doing, and he had to go like that and move his mouth to the cup. It's very small. I don't know how you would do that without doing that. It'd be really good.
You couldn't. And
we're not giving it shit. It's just funny to watch.
Absolutely not, but we're talking the question, this or that. That third arm is going to be a problem.
Yeah, it is going to be a problem. Yeah, I'm taking the third eye.
Good.
And then let's see here. I had one more this or that for you. Which obsolete profession would you rather have? An elevator attendant or a switchboard operator?
Oh, God.
Like Johnson 5 connecting you.
I think a switchboard operator, I would love to just play shitty games and connect them to different people.
You just want to torment people by getting the wrong connection?
I want to toy with people. Why not?
See, I'm thinking elevator attendant because you're going to get to know those people really well. And then I started thinking that doesn't sound appealing at all. So I'm going to take switchboard person as well. Both of those jobs don't exist anymore. By the way, it was tough coming up with this or that's related to these two. So anyway,
you did good.
What we're gonna do here is I've almost finished mine. So
the last drop.
Yep. So we just finished these. I like them. I don't really feel like an impact, but I know with these things sometimes it takes a minute to start going.
Very light, very refreshing and light.
Yeah, I like that too. So. Cheers, everybody. What we're going to do is we're going to stop recording this one. We're going to cut it all up with our interview with the New Jersey drone, and then we're going to go right into the next episode, which will air probably a week later, maybe less. Right before New Year's Eve, I think, because that's when the New Year's Eve marathon is going over season 2 of the show and what we did. And I'm just telling you, don't miss it. I have a lot of really funny stuff lined up for it. I was hoping we could do it all in one episode, but it would be an hour and a half long. So we're just going to cut it right here. But everybody, thank you for joining us. Thank you for all of that crap. And
thank you, man.
Hell yeah.
Great season 2.
Absolutely. Let's finish these off and then go on to the season 2 review of the Twilight Zone After Hours. Thank you very much. We'll see you in another dimension, which is literally just us standing up in a minute.
Take care.
Bye, everybody.
Makes you wonder, doesn't it? Where is this place and when is it? The answer is it doesn't make any difference.
Can you say eggs?
Stevens.